Welcome back to In Depth with Jodie Lobana. We are back with Dr. Das. He is president of Kabir Association of Canada and he's visiting us in Toronto. So I've asked Dr. Das to come and speak to us on a very important topic, which is kind of a taboo topic to talk about because generally people don't talk about it in their day-to-day lives. But I believe personally that more we talk about this topic, more we can live life in a fuller manner. And the topic is death. As you know, when we take birth, that's the time our clock starts ticking, and as a human being, we will go through death. And as Dr. Das has studied Saint Kabir's teachings substantially, and he has written many books on Saint Kabir's teachings, I would ask Dr. Das, what did Saint Kabir say about death?
Death is natural, normal, and he taught that death is a transition, that the soul does not die,
Sure.
that the soul has lived before and continues to live. Our present life depended on our past karmas. He said, "Pahle prarabdha bani, taba paashe bani sharur." First, you have accumulated your karmas that are determining your present birth. And your present birth is full of karmas, and they will continue on.
Sure.
But while this life is going, birth, death, the soul is continuous, only the bodies keep changing. And he said, death is to be welcomed, because the law of change is the law of nature.
Sure.
Everything changes, everything dies in time. So human beings are no exception. But the death of anything does not mean extinction. They regenerate and they carry on. So Kabir Sahib said, "Jis marne se jag dare, mere man anand.
Sure.
Kab mare ho kab payo puran parmanand." He said, the world is afraid of death, but I welcome it. This death gives me an opportunity to have eternal bliss. How does that happen?
Sure.
Because this life is full of, let's say, sensory things, passions, evil, harm, violence, everything is going on.
Sure.
Death gives you that opportunity now to start all over again. There will be carryover your karmas, but at the same time you have carried a lot of experience from this life. So Kabir Sahib has said, when that soul is in the mother's womb, it makes a promise to God
Sure.
that I will do devotion, I will be a good soul, a good person in my next birth.
Sure.
The reason why Kabir Sahib says that is because the soul is not a new soul. The soul has lived. It has experienced adversities, difficulties, and different things,
Sure.
and then realizes that now I'll have a birth again,
Yes.
and therefore I can start doing the right things.
Sure.
That is where the life of devotion, spirituality, and all the nobility comes in. So you lay down good karmas, so you will ultimately reach that state of enlightenment where you are free of birth and death.
Okay. So just trying to, you've said a lot, now we're going to try to digest it in smaller pieces, if you allow us, Dr. Das. So first question is, what happened at the time of death? What does Saint Kabir say? What goes with us, what stays here?
Kabir Sahib said that the soul itself does not accumulate anything,
Okay.
but the things that go along with the soul are the mind, and the intellect and the consciousness and the ego. Man, buddhi, chit, ahankar. These are the four things that accumulate the karmas, carry the karmic record, as it were.
Sure.
And that karmic record that goes with these four agents go along with the soul in the subtle astral body and takes on a new birth. And then that karmas that are going along with these agents begin to manifest in the new life.
Okay, so you're saying that these karmic impressions do go with us as we go from one life to another life.
Yes.
Have you? I'm sure you've seen that there are some older individuals, even in their late age, they continue to study different subjects, and other people ask them, "Why are you studying? Because are you going to do some job with it? Is this going to help you in this life?" But I believe that, especially with what you're saying, with karmic impressions going forward, is more we can evolve our soul till the time of our death, more it's going to benefit going forward in the eternal life as well.
Yes, certainly. I heard one story mentioned by a monk. There was an old man, perhaps in his 90s.
Sure.
He was studying Sanskrit.
Yes.
And someone asked him, "Why are you studying Sanskrit at your age?"
Yeah.
He said, "I'm not studying it for this life, I'm studying it for the next life.
Yes.
So I'll be advanced then."
Yes.
So that gives you the concept that whatever you can achieve now will be your achievement later on. In other words, it's like going through school. What you have achieved in grade 1 will go with you to grade 2, and grade 2 will go to grade 3. And in that process you can graduate. But if you do not accumulate anything in grade 1, you remain static. And life is not meant to be static. We have to grow spiritually, just as we grow academically.
Yes. So whatever you are at the time of your death, like whatever a human being is at the time of their death, that's what the karmic impression that they carry on to the next life. So I think it's very important that even the time around their death is well managed as well, so that there are not too many tribulations. I know in Buddhism, the whole event around death and the things right before death are quite well managed, and they're properly prescribed so that the person kind of dies in peace, so that the peace vibrations go with them, go with their soul, rather than the turbulent feelings.
Yes. But also we are dealing with the law of karma.
Yes.
And in this life, from birth till death, karmas have come with us, and during this life we have worked some of those karmas off. We are creating new karmas, so it's an influx, and it's like a wave pattern.
Sure.
Karmas come, they're eliminated, new karmas until the point of death.
Sure.
Now, during this life, if we do all the right things and create right karmas, our negative karmas will become less and less.
Sure.
So Kabir Sahib will say then that decrease your negative karmas, do the good, good karmas, so that at the point of death you will have very little negative karmas to go with you.
Yes.
But it doesn't necessarily always mean that the thought you hold or what you have in you at the end of your life, at the time of death, that will determine what you will be. I think there's a continuity of your karmas.
Sure.
If you have wiped out every karma by the point of death and you have absolute peace, then fine. You have no karmas to carry over. But I doubt whether people have reached that state where all negative karmas have been wiped out. So at the point of death, I'm thinking of peace, therefore I will be born as a peaceful being. I don't think that necessarily holds, and that's my view of how it will operate.
So in essence, you're saying essentially at the time of death, what you do, it may not impact that much, but I think based on Buddhist philosophy, it impacts somewhat. So, which means that I guess at the end of the day, that's part of your karma as well, like what happened at the time of your death as well.
Yes.
Because the karma are still being accumulated even till the point of your death.
That is true. And of course, there may be different interpretations of
Yes.
this. You mentioned Buddhism, perhaps Hinduism, Islam, perhaps have different interpretations.
Mm.
But we are dealing with a topic that nobody knows.
Mm.
And Kabir Sahib said not to, he didn't use these words, but not to worry about what is the future or the past. He used the example that nobody has come back from heaven to tell you what is that condition. Nobody has come back from beyond death to tell us. He used the word also, nobody has sent passage money for you to come back on your journey to tell us what it's like. So we are somehow speculating and we don't have absolute knowledge. So some things we just can't discuss because we don't know.
And the other reason why death is a very important topic to talk about is the fact that as soon as somebody dies, world continues to move on. So it's almost like on one side a person dies, on the other side the other party is worried what's next for dinner. So one of the books that I'm writing, the book is I'll reveal the name early on. The book is called Sorry She Died ... Now what's for dinner? Like the world has become like this, where world doesn't care whether an individual person dies or not. Only perhaps your mom and dad, or maybe your siblings may care, but rest of the world moves on. And I think there's Saint Kabir's poem where he says, on the person's death, wife weeps for these many days, sister weeps for maybe 2 weeks, and mother weeps for 4 weeks or the 4 months. But eventually everybody moves on. And as far as the rest of the world, they move on right away. Like right away, they say, yes, the person died, I'm sorry about that, and now tell me what's for dinner. Because their day-to-day life is moving on. I think that the reason I think the topic of death is so revealing, because it tells you that you should live your life the best way possible, not be too concerned about what is society is going to say. One of my friends tells me this phrase. He said, "Sabse bada hai ye rog, kya kahenge log?" Sabse bada. So bottom line is that we shouldn't be too worried about what the other people may say, but rather be concerned about what makes us happy, what makes us peaceful, what gets us to enlightenment, gives us that self-knowledge, and do the right karma and the right service for the betterment of our own soul. Because at the end of the day, the world would carry on as we die. So it really, what it does is, for a person like me, it positively motivates me to live the life the best, most ignited way possible, and not be too concerned about the perceptions of other people in the society.
That is true. And as you mentioned, the close relatives will mourn and cry and so on. But for others, it doesn't really matter.
Yes.
And that is because of closeness and attachment.
Yes.
Kabir Sahib said, because of attachment, and he said to practice detachment.
Yes.
If you can detach yourself, then you will not go through all that suffering. Now, the people who are not responding to a death, they're detached. It's somebody, I heard the news, somebody died, so what? Life goes on. And Kabir Sahib would say that one should cry when there's a new birth and be happy when there's a death, because it means that the new birth is coming to a world of karma, a world of suffering, and at death, that soul has a chance of passing from the life of suffering to a life of peace and happiness. There's that opportunity
Sure.
that soul is given.
Sure. So, I guess from the perspective of death, the death is one topic that should be discussed, and Kabirji has discussed it substantially in his teachings, rather than be ignored. I think the suffering is more when we ignore something rather than when we accept it. I actually personally do a contemplation. I remember doing it. I do management consulting for work, and I remember coming out from one of my clients' office and doing a contemplation practice and saying, these buildings would be here, but I wouldn't be. These trees will still be here, but I wouldn't be. This earth would still be here, but I wouldn't be. So in essence, really kind of knowing the truth of the short lifespan that a human, in this case myself, would have, and really utilizing each and every moment of my life, and for humans our life, that we need to really cherish every moment, get the happiness, share the happiness with other people, work towards self-knowledge, enlightenment, do the right things, and not be focused on the negative aspects of life, such as hatred or envy or fear, all those things. There is no time for that. Time is very short to just spend it on the right things. What do you think, Dr.
I think that is correct. We spend so much time about things that may never happen, anxieties, worries, frustrations, hate, jealousy, greed, attachments. These are the things that seem to occupy people's minds and
Yes.
their whole life practically.
Yeah.
But as Kabir Sahib said, try to detach from all of these and attach yourself to God. When you do that, you are living a noble life.
Yes.
And it's that noble life, that spiritual life, that will keep you happy in this life and keep you happy in any future life.
Yes.
And of course, I think we must not squander our energy on the things that bear no positive fruit.
Yes.
Let us concentrate, expend effort on the positive things in life that will make our life happy, peaceful, rewarding, and the life of those around us will be more peaceful, happy, and rewarding.
Yes, definitely. And actually, one thing Kabirji said, that through devotion and practice, we can come to a state of mind where there is no karma effect. The karma does not really affect you. And I will tell you, Dr. Das, my perspective on this, and then perhaps you can clarify. The way I've seen this and adopted this is in an enlightened state of mind, what happens is you get to an awareness state. So where your life is just like a movie playing in front of you. So nothing that happens in your life has negative impact on you. Even if it's just like, imagine sitting in a movie theater and you're watching a movie. If there's a tragic event in the movie, such as an accident or something that happens, you actually watch that movie with equanimity. You see, because that movie is playing and there are other actors and actresses. In your life's movie, when you are a watcher or the aware being, then in that movie you're just one of the actor or actress. And if you're able to see your life from this awareness perspective, then that's in my mind an enlightened state where none of the karma is impacting you. What
Yes,
do you think?
yeah. That is when you are an observer.
Yes.
And Kabir Sahib tells us we have to observe.
Yes.
The Buddhists will call it mindfulness,
Yes.
mindful meditation. What is that mindfulness? Is to observe ourselves. Kabir Sahib uses the word antakaran, to see your inside.
Yes.
And when you look at yourself objectively, as you were saying, when you're looking at it, it's a movie. You're not attaching yourself to any incident or any event. You're just observing, because this is life. It's a series of events. And this event, you attach importance to it, an attachment to it, it bothers you. But if you're an observer, oh, I see this event is happening in my life. I understand this event. You know, I may have done karmas that causes this event. I understand it. Therefore, I'm going to observe it. I'm not going to react emotionally to it. I will let it pass. And so you observe every event in your life. That is when the, spiritually speaking, the observer, the observance, and the observed object disappear into a unity.
Yes.
And that unity is when you have realization that everything is a unity.
Yes.
And that unity is you.
Yes.
The unity is the spirit. The spirit is in you, and the spirit is universal.
Yes.
That is what spiritual life is all about.
Yes. And really, God is not separate from us. This universal energy is just living through us. We are, in my mind, and tell me if you agree, is we are just part of the Godhood. The God, every essence of the entire universe is God and the God's energy, and we are part of that, so we are part of God's essence.
Yes, absolutely, and that is correct. Kabir Sahib said, imagine a state when there is no air, no water, no earth, no space, no guru, no teacher, no tree, no animal, nothing. What is there? The human mind does not conceive of that state of just being, consciousness, nothing else. That is the state of Godhood.
Yes.
And God is universal. And as you mentioned, we are sort of Godhood. The Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta philosophy states that only God exists. Even if you say one God, you are wrong, because you cannot attach a number to God. Whenever you say one God, it presupposes number 2, number 3. What happened to the other numbers?
Sure.
So God does not have a number. Only God exists, and God manifests or projects into all beings.
Yes.
So that will be Kabir Sahib's view on this.
Yes.
And I think the Advaita Vedantic view of monism.
Yes.
Everything is a unity.
Yes.
And in that unity, there is no argument of 1 or 2.
Yes.
There's only the state of being.
Yes. And it's actually, even as per quantum physics, it's proven that everything is energy, and the only thing that is there in the entire environment that we have, in entire universe, is energy. Actually, in my personal case, I call God universal energy, just to remind myself that everything that's within this energetic space is part of that Godhood, and we are all part of it. And that actually allows us to have love and compassion for each other as well, because we are part of that essential energy. And we cannot be bad to anybody, because everybody has God inside them. So we got to love and respect everybody and take care of everyone as much as we can do within our means. So, viewers, that was all we had for today. Our time's up, so I will leave it at that. Thank you, Dr. Das, for your views, for bringing Saint Kabir's views to us. And please come back another time when you visit Toronto. Please do come back and see us as well. And we'll love to bring you back and bring you back to our viewers, actually, and share your views.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you, viewers, for your attention. Until next time. Hopefully you have peaceful weeks ahead, and a life that is more fulfilling and more spiritual than before. Thank you.